What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBsports back again. What another one. Former unified welterweight champion Keith one-time Thurman. One time who once upon a time used to be the welterweight champions with an S, because he held titles in the WBC and WBA. He was the top dog at 147 off the back of defeating Shawn Porter and Danny Garcia. Well, he has a fight coming up in about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. He'll be taking on Thurman-Barrios, who will be making his debut at 147. You know, former regular WBA junior welterweight champion. Now, he got that title taken off his waist from Gervonta Tank Davis. Yeah, no. Now, he did an interview with Fight Hype. And he made an interesting pronouncement when he said that the fight between him and Barrios, you got, on one hand, you got one guy that's very inactive, been out of the ring for long stretches due to injuries with his elbow and his hand. You know, his last time he was seen in the ring, he lost to the former multi-division champion, soon-to-be Hall of Fame fighter, Filipino icon, one of the greatest fighters of this past generation, Manny Pacquiao, in a competitive split decision loss. You know, he was landing some bombs on Pacquiao in the second half of that fight. You know, he lost that fight. You know, you could have made an argument that he won that fight. Very close fight. I think what was his downfall was that body shot that he took, and he almost dropped him in the, what was that, the 10th or 11th round? I can't remember what round, but it was in a championship round. You know, championship rounds are rounds 10, 11, and 12. Those are considered championship rounds in the sport of boxing. Well, he got hit with a vicious body shot. And, you know, it looked like he was about to Earl. You know, when you done had too much to drink, and you call Earl, and you start throwing up, and you can't, you don't matter who around, don't matter where you at, you got to unleash that. That's how Thurman looked when he took that body shot from Pacquiao. That's neither here nor there. He made an interesting pronouncement in that video with, I can't remember the guy's name, man. The guy is Flores, my bad, Flores. You know, Flores is a guy that does the grand arrivals for the PBC. You know, they have the grand arrivals, usually happen on a Tuesday, and he brings those fighters up on stage, and that basically kicks out fight week. Well, he did the interview on Fight Hype, and Thurman said that the WBC is having him partake in pre-fight weight checks. And Thurman said, why is they doing that? I don't have a WBC belt. Neither does my opponent, Thurman-Barrios, have a WBC belt. So I believe that the reason why they doing that, it's Thurman talking. I'm paraphrasing, but it's basically what he said. I believe the reason why they doing that is because they finna make the fight between myself and Barrios an eliminator fight. Therefore, the winner of this fight gonna be in prime position to take on the WBC champion, which is currently Errol Spence Jr. Now, Errol Spence Jr. has a fight lined up with Thurman-Ugas. My intel is telling me that fight is gonna take place April 16th or April 23rd. Therefore, Thurman, if he's victorious against Barrios, will get the winner of that fight. But not so fast, my friend. As Lee Corso always says, that's not going to necessarily be the case. That's going to be an eliminator, but not a final eliminator. As WBC head honcho Jose Suleiman threw cold water on what Thurman said. Said, Thurman, you're a little premature in what you're saying. It ain't going to be no final eliminator. It's going to be eliminator, so you'll be in position, but you could be involved in another eliminator if you really have to take that eliminator to secure the fight with winner of Ugas versus Spence. So it's not guaranteed that the winner of this fight between Thurman and Barrios will get a direct shot at the winner of Ugas Spence. Now, you know, we got Al Heyman out here, aka the Puppet Master. He's pulling strings here, and he's setting the stage for this to actually take place. You know, Suleiman saying it's not a final eliminator, but it ain't really got to be no final eliminator, really, because you got two Al Heyman advised fighters in Thurman versus Spence, and if both are victorious, that's an easy fight to make in-house. Now, everybody wants to see Spence versus Crawford. That's the fight everybody wants to see. Crawford is not aligned with a promoter at this point. He is a free agent. You know, he has a manager, but those rumors of him being with MTK Global are not true, according to his trainer, Bernie, the boxer. He says he is not with MTK Global. With that being said, this could potentially be another piece off the chessboard as far as potential opponent for Terence Crawford. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But a lot of people were upset about those comments Thurman made. They was like, oh man, there it is. They don't want to fight. Another roadblock for Spence versus Crawford. They throwing another fighter in our face. We don't want to see that. We want to see Spence versus Crawford. But the obstacle to Spence versus Crawford has really nothing to do with this pronouncement by Thurman or this pronouncement by Jose Suleiman. Because I told you in the last video that Spence versus Crawford is a unification fight. Unification usually trumps mandatories. But the problem with this unification fight between Spence and Crawford is the purse split. Crawford wants 50-50. I don't know if it's going in one ear and out the other with a lot of these hardcore boxing fans, and particularly these Bud Crawford fans, but he wants 50-50. He's not going to take nothing less. He's already saying that he possibly could move up to 154. He's not going to bow down to Spence. You know, he says he's going to hold Spence to his words. And Spence says that before he leaves 147, that he will fight Crawford because he wants to become undisputed in the welterweight division. Crawford has heard those words. He knows he's the last trinket, so he does have some form of leverage, but he doesn't have the ultimate trump card, so to speak, because he's a guy that's in a holding pattern, basically. He has no great fights on the horizon. Who are you going to fight? Who is he going to fight? Josh Taylor? Nah. That fight is out the window. He's suing Taylor's promoter, Bob Arum. So they're going to probably move into another direction. They can go up to 147 and chase a lot of the champion because he's a unified junior welterweight champion. He don't have to petition the WBO. He could petition the WBC. He could petition the WBA. You know what I'm saying? The WBA is looking to shrink their titles, but they want to do it with guys in the same weight classes. You know, that's what they want to do. They want to get rid of these regular belts and these interim belts. You know, these belts like that. So I don't know, but he could petition the WBC and the WBA. So he can go. He got several different routes he can go. He don't necessarily have to petition the WBO. So that's a fight that, in my opinion, is not going to happen. At least not next for Terence Bud Crawford. Now the Thurman fight seems to be dwindling as far as chances of happening. We'll see, man. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But it was a little bit premature for Keith one-time Thurman to make that pronouncement, proclamation, basically saying that, hey, man, once I beat Barrios, man, I'm going to be fighting the winner of Ugas versus Thurman for all three belts. And then after that, I'll look at a possible matchup with Terence Crawford. You know, he did a lot of premature talking. And here come Jose Suleiman the next day, throwing cold water on there, say, hold on, slow your roll, Keith. You ain't going to get no direct shot at the champion. It's an eliminator, not a final eliminator. So you might be put in another eliminator, which should be the case. You know, at least if Keith Thurman beat Barrios, he should fight the winner of Virgil Ortiz versus David Avenesian. Now, Virgil Ortiz's team is moving him slow now. Golden Boy Promotion, know they basically got 3 fighters. They 3 deep. They don't have a lot of quality or quantity of fighters. They got 3 fighters. They got Jaime McGee, Virgil Ortiz Jr., and Ryan Garcia. That's it. That's it. So they moving all 3 of those guys very slow. So Virgil Ortiz has a fight lined up with Michael McKinson. So he will have to get through that fight and then put him in there with David Avenesian. That should be the next fight up. And then the winner of that could fight Keith One Time Thurman. Now, Keith One Time Thurman going to be waiting for a while because he's fighting in a couple of weeks. So, he, you know, if that's the case, he probably be waiting till the end of the year at the earliest to get the winner of our, you know, to find out who's going to come out in that scenario. Because, again, you got Ortiz fighting McKinson. But maybe if he beats McKinson, he jumps up and fights Keith One Time Thurman. But David Avenesian is going to be like, hold on, man, I'm number 2. You know, I should be in the final eliminator. So they're going to have to clean all that up, figure all that out, and come to an understanding on who will be in the final eliminator. But one thing for sure is, based on these Suleiman comments, the winner of Thurman-Barrios will be in the final eliminator. Will they be in the final eliminator against Ortiz versus McKinson, or Ortiz will have to not only defeat McKinson, but defeat David Avenesian, and the winner of that fight will fight Keith One Time Thurman. It's a big mess in the WBC, man, and I really ain't here for it. I'm not really here for all that at all. I want to see Spence versus Crawford. But, again, with the purse demands that Crawford is insisting on, that fight seems highly unlikely. And the more likely scenario is that Thurman, even though he is not the final eliminator, he will be ranked in the WBC, and therefore that would make a high possibility that Keith One Time Thurman would indeed take on the winner of Ugas versus Spence. Because he'll be in the top 10 rankings off his victory over Barrios, or if Barrios beats Thurman. Whoever wins that fight will be in the top 10 of the WBC. Therefore, they will be eligible to take on the winner of the winner of Spence v. Ugas. So we will see what happens. We will see what transpires. But that's the latest and the greatest in the sport of boxing. Basically, what we have is a WBC welterweight tournament, a de facto WBC welterweight tournament. And it's a very high possibility that the winner of Spence versus Ugas will take on the winner of Thurman versus Barrios. That's what Al Heyman, a.k.a. the Puppet Master, wants. He's pulling the strings in these things. And due to the monetary demands of Crawford, that's basically setting the stage for this to transpire in the summer, early fall of 2022. Let me know your thoughts about what Jose Suleiman said, saying that it's not a final eliminator, it is just an eliminator. Let me know your thoughts about what Thurman said a day earlier, saying that with the pre-fight weight checks of the WBC, that this fight with him and Barrios will be an eliminator, therefore setting the stage for him to fight for all 3 belts against the winner of Spence versus Thurman. Let me know your thoughts, and hit the like button if you like the content of this video. Hit the like and share this boxing video, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, and I holla.